Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being here this morning. So, let's make some recap about yesterday. First of all, and about how the course is structured. So, we say the course is divided in 4 parts. We start from the antiquity, so from ancient Greece, and we arrive until the end of the Middle Ages, which is about 1,400, 1,500 after Christ, Renaissance, and all these things. So, from antiquity to the Middle Ages is about 2,000 years. We do it in 2 weeks because it's we only want to look at the most important things. Then we get into early modernity, and the second part is going to be about the theories of the social contract. Why we like the theory, we want to focus on this? Because the theories of the social contract is the invention of the state, of the political state. And in this course, the concept of state is very important. We want to understand why we decided to live under states and why the state is the main political institution in our societies. So, then we go to, let's say mature modern era, which is brought about Enlightenment and the main revolutions. We put the ideas of the social contract in practice, which is the French Revolution, the American Revolution, and the Industrial Revolution. So we go through the 19th century industrial society and we explore the main ideologies, the main ideas. This is part 3, in which we have, for example, liberalism, socialism, conservatism, and so on. So, and then we go to the contemporary world, which is the crisis of political modernity, the world wars, genocide, the use of political violence as a political tool, and the birth of the welfare state, and we go to the postmodern era and post-colonial world. So at the end we try to open the discussion to the global perspective and post-colonial perspective. So, now, this is going to be the structure. It's not going to stay exactly like this. I will change somebody, but this is the structure. So, you take a picture of the structure, and right now, what we're going to do is that I need a paper. Wait. I need a paper. So, on this paper, you write your name, nationality, and if you would be interested in doing something about one topic, in doing a presentation on one topic. So, let's be more clear about this presentation. I thought about it not in front of the camera, exactly in front of the camera. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, exactly. What's your name? Mac. Where are you from? Vietnam. Good. Okay, Mac. So right now you're gonna pass this paper, so we know it's in the class or not in the class. You're gonna write your name, nationality, and if you would be interested in make a presentation about one of these topics. So what is the presentation? We have oral presentation and slide preparation, as I said yesterday. Oral presentation. This means it's not a presentation, it's not anymore a presentation about the topic, the author. I don't want a presentation about Hobbes in general. I want a presentation about the most important book by Hobbes, for example. So you pick an author, you don't have to do the presentation about all the author. You have to do a presentation about his most important book, and the large part of the presentation, like 60 or 70%, must be you reading parts of this book. So you introduce, for example, let's say the book Hobbes. You want to make a presentation about Hobbes. So you sit here yeah, maybe you have a couple of slides and you say, yeah, he wrote this book, The Leviathan, in 1569. This book is about ABC, is important for this reason, and then you start reading one part of the book, possibly with that good music and in the background, and this is going to be the presentation. You have to read it. So this means that you have to prepare your reading. You're not going to read. No, you make, nice for the class. So this is oral presentation. Oral presentation means you say 1 minute, 2 minutes, you say something about the book you're presenting by this author, and then you're going to read the most important quotation from this book. How do you find the quotation? I'm going to upload on the Microsoft Teams 2 books with the most important quotations. But if you don't like those quotations, you can also go on the internet, because these are the most important classics of political philosophy, so you can find it online and you can pick another part of it, okay? This is oral presentation, so you make a presentation about one book, basically. Slide preparation. Slide preparation means that you come here, you don't present anything, but you take very good notes about what I say, what the professor say in the lecture, and you prepare the perfect slides for about what I said in the lecture. This is for the future students of the next year, when you will have better slides, because I will take your slides and I will replace mine, which is not that good. So, oral presentation, slide preparation. I hope it's clear. Is it clear? Any question? Okay. Yes.
Is it one or the other, or both?
Sorry?
Is it one or the other, or both?
One or the other.
Okay.
Yeah, good question. Either one or the other. Either one or the other.
Excuse me. 1 minute.
Yeah, can you go on another point? Because, yeah. So, sorry, but we are recording the class. So, yeah, thank you. Sorry. So, slide preparation or representation is not compulsory. You only do if you have passion, if you want to do it because you want to have fun, because you like it, but at the end, it only, for the exam, it only removes that topic from the final exam, okay? So if you do a presentation on Hobbes, you don't have to study Hobbes again for the exam. I will not ask you Hobbes at the exam. So it doesn't make a big difference. You do it mostly because you want to develop your skill in presentation, and because you want to have fun, and because you're interested in the topic, and blah, blah, blah. That doesn't make a big difference, so feel free to do it. Because the worst thing is sometimes students take the topic and then don't show up the day. This is the worst thing you can do. You're going to never pass the exam if you do this thing. Because last year happened that everybody wanted a topic, but then they don't show up on the topic. Had to be present. Also, people also choose a topic and then did the presentation, which was clear, made with artificial intelligence, just spend 5 minutes to prepare it. Not a good idea. So better not do it. You only do it if you're passionate and you want to do it. So right now, papers, and you write your name, surname, and if you want to do a slide preparation or oral presentation about one topic. Okay? Yeah. Good. Let's go to recap yesterday. So yesterday we made the first lesson. The first class was about what history of political thought is, and we're not going to get back there. And then we started our first topic. What is our first topic? Ancient Greece. So, ancient Greece. We start with ancient Greece. Why? Because this course is about politics. This course is about politics. The word politics come from a specific thing, which is the polis. The polis was the city-state in ancient Greece, where people started, to build politics together. It means that they didn't have a monarch, a despot, a sovereign, a pharaoh who would just rule on them, but they wanted to rule all together. They wanted to decide all together what is the rule of governing a society, or governing a society. So They met in the assembly and they started to discuss how can we govern all together. Why we want to live together? We want to live together for mutual benefits. We live together for mutual benefits. Otherwise, we're going to live in the countryside. Everybody is gonna take care of his own fields, his own fruit. But we decided to live in the city. Why we decided to live in the city? Because we want to live together. Why we want to live together? Because we get mutual benefit from this. How can we get mutual benefit? By creating political institutions who help us to get mutual benefit from this and to hold belong this political institution to everybody. The idea that the political institution belongs to everybody is the idea of the republic. Republic from Latin. Res means a thing, public means it's public, it's common, it's shared. Okay? So, the crucial concept from ancient Greece is this idea of republic. So the politics serves to mutual benefit and that we want to take care of everything all together. So to do this, they invented democracy. Democracy means demos, people, cracy, government. The government of the people. Why? Because all the people gathered together in an assembly and took decision all together. They used the term people, but it was only 10% of the population, only the citizens. This excluded slaves, maids, foreigners, and minors, means people under the age of 18. So they call it democracy, but actually it was democracy only for the 10% of the population. But this 10% exercised direct democracy. They gathered together in an assembly and they discussed the problems of the city. Every citizen had the right, but also the duty to participate in the assembly and to take decisions all together. So the point is, the crucial element is that the republic, so we want to refer to the word republic, to the idea of republic. Because this idea of democracy, yes, it's true that the Greeks invented, but it's profoundly different from our democracy. Because it was direct democracy and it was not all the people, but only 10%. But what is very interesting is this idea of the republic. The republic means, let's see if I can find the slide again. So, the republic means that we understand that politics is a common thing, so we want to govern us all together. And participation is crucial. Every citizen has the right, but also the duty to participate. Republicanism means that participation is the most important thing. Means that you have the right to take part in the assembly, but you also have the duty to take part in the assembly, to say your own word. At least once in your life you have to serve the government, either as a minister or as a judge, or to do public servant for the community in any kind of sense. So you have to be informed, you must be informed about what is the public life of the community, about the public things. Indeed, what happened is that differently from democracy, in which the people elect the government, their representative who govern. In a republic, what often happened was a lottery. So I made a lottery and I take this lottery and say, okay, right now the president, the prime minister is Mazzino, Estratto, and he has to serve as prime minister. Why? Because in the republic, everybody is supposed to know the political things, to have to be interested, to be available. And also in a republic, you must be, you have the right to be your own arms, because you don't want to be dominated by the political power who has the police and to dominate you. So you also have the right to bear arms, but you also have the duty to fight for your political community. This is the idea of republic. So, two concepts are crucial for defining republic. One is virtue. Everybody has to write with virtue. What is virtue? Virtue means that when you act in the public sphere, you don't pursue your own private interest. You pursue the public interest of the political community that we have decided to establish together to self-govern ourselves. This is virtue. The fact that you act in the public interest and not in your own private interest. And the concept of citizen, because the democracy in ancient Greece, in Athens, was only for those who were citizens. Citizenship is very important because it's the idea that defines the membership in a political community. So, the citizen means that you're a member of this political community. Nowadays, we understand the political community as the nation. But this is very recent invention. We can see that the idea of nation only comes up with the French Revolution. Before, the political membership was not to a nation. For example, in this case was to a polis, Athenians, Sparta. You were part of an urban community, of a city where it was a political community. And being citizen means that you were a member of this political community. And you were a member by blood, because your parents were part of this political community. This is, it's very important because right nowadays we have a lot of global migration. Compared to the last century, people are moving, are migrating more and more and more and more. So there is the problem is which migrants can get citizenship, which migrant cannot get citizenship. Well, how we decide if this migrant can become parts of the political community? How do we make this decision? So this is a very important topic nowadays, and we still have two main models. We have jus soli, which is if you're born in the territory of this country, of this nation, you are citizen of this nation. For example, United States of America or France. If you're born in the United States of America or if you're born in France, you immediately get citizenship. You become a citizen. Okay, this is one. Jus sanguinis, you must have the blood of the nation. Germany, Italy. If you're born here from foreign parents, you don't become automatically a citizen of Italy or Germany. But if you have ancestors, if you don't live in Italy, if you're not born in Italy, but your parents are Italian, I don't know, in Argentina, in Canada or everywhere, you become a citizen because you have the blood. So this is the two different models. And this was invented in ancient Greece. For example, in Athens, you could become a citizen only by blood. In the Roman Empire, we will see that since they want to build an empire and what they want everybody to become Roman, they say jus soli. Everybody who was born in the territory of the Roman Empire was a Roman citizen. So, then, as we said, you had many rights in the police, but not the right to choose your own religion. Was compulsory. You have to believe in the gods of the polis. You have to believe in the religion of the polis. They thought that there were gods who was taking part in the political life of the community, and you have to believe in them and respect their principles. And then, last point, ancient political thought was very much focused on the search for the best form of government. How should we organize the government? And here we have these three guys, the most important political thinkers in ancient Greece: Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle. So what happened? They were students. So Plato was a student of Socrates, and Aristotle was a student of Plato. So, this we're talking about 400, 300 before Christ, in which Socrates didn't have a university or anything. He just went to the streets of Athens and blah blah blah. He used to talk. Whilst Plato, his student, decided to found the Academy, which was the first university in history, a center of research, scholarship, where students can come and study philosophy and discuss together And all over Greece, people were coming to discuss philosophy and so on. So this is a Renaissance representation of the academy, the first university in history, established by Plato as a student of Socrates. Whilst Socrates didn't have a university. So let's start with Socrates. Is the founding father of political philosophy in Western countries. So he said, we don't have only to study nature and science and mathematics and blah, 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 but we can focus on human affairs, social affairs, how we live together. And so he said, to understand how we live together, we have to understand what is virtue, what is justice. So one point you have to remember about Socrates is not many things we have to learn about Socrates. The first thing is that he invented the Socratic method, which is the foundation of Western political philosophy. It's very, very, very simple, the Socratic method. First, I have to acknowledge that I'm ignorant, that there are so many things that I don't know. So, I'm aware of my ignorance, and so I'm willing to know more things. To willing more things, I started a dialogue with other human beings. I started a dialogue which is an open dialogue. I don't know how it's gonna be. The teacher asks open-ended questions, then to encourage the students to think deeply, and come to new things. So it's a method to encourage critical thinking, and deeper understanding of complex ideas, to develop complex ideas through question. So it promotes self-awareness, reflection, and cultivate critical thinking. So, what is the Socratic method? The Socratic method is the foundation of how we do knowledge in Western societies, which means we start to say, yeah, there are so many things that I don't know. I wanna develop the knowledge. I wanna advance the knowledge. So this means that I have to be aware that I don't have the truth. There are many things that I can learn, and then to advance the truth, I have to be open to development. So this is kind of opposite from the principle, for example, of religion. In religion, you think, yeah, there is the truth. Yes. No, it's not a question. Okay. So there is the truth in religion, for example. You think God already knew the truth. You have the truth already written in the sacred, in the holy book, and so that's done. Critical thinking, Western thinking, philosophy, and so on there is not such a thing as truth. But I can advance knowledge by questioning, and make step forward, and then I have to question what was said before, and I have to make a step forward from this. This is also, the scientific method. The scientific method is that you also have to question the previous discovery, the previous assumption. You have to put in question, you have to question, and you have to make a step forward. So, Socratic method, you start from acknowledging that you're ignorant, and you start a critical dialogue which is open-ended, that doesn't have proper answers, to make step forward, to develop knowledge. Socratic method, very easy. So, Socrates liked this idea. This idea implied to go and talk. So this guy, poor guy, was very ugly. He dressed very bad. So, and this activity he was going every time, but he was super intelligent, super smart. Ugly, very bad dressed, but very smart. And he went to the streets of Athens and said, yeah, we have to, and this guy liked to discuss, he had so many students who were fascinating, but his brilliant intelligence, and he was saying, yeah, blah, 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 and he was exercising the Socratic method, because he had great ideas. And so it gathers many students, all the youth in Athens was fascinated by Socrates. So what happened? What happened? As always happened, you know, the people the people who had power in Athens started to say, yeah, but this ugly man old is always there, and he pursued the youth, and the youth look at him as if was God, and so on, and so forth. It doesn't respect tradition, it doesn't respect our gods, it doesn't respect all our traditional values, and so on. It challenges our traditional values. So they said, okay, you come here, now we're gonna go to trial. Why? Because you are accused of impiety, means that you don't believe the gods of the police. As I said, there was not freedom of religion. You have to believe in the gods. The gods were considered part of the political life of the community, and impiety was a felony. So they said, yeah, impiety for you, dear Socrates. Impiety. And second, you're corrupting the youth. So they made a process to Socrates. Impiety and corrupting the youth. So, what happened? Socrates said, yeah, but this accusation was not fair. I never said I'm a teacher. I said I'm ignorant. And I try to overcome my ignorance by questioning, by discussing with other Athenian citizens, with the youth. I didn't want to corrupt the youth. I wanted to encourage them to critical thinking, to intellectual curiosity. So it was very, very nice defense. He made a great speech, but the jury found him guilty in 501. Sorry, a jury of 501 Athenians found it guilty. And then they say, okay, now we found your guilt. You can choose. You go exile, okay? You take your stuff and you go to another city to say your bullshit. Or you're gonna die because it's death penalty. It's the death penalty. So he said, what Socrates said is an example of what we have to understand as a virtue. Because he said, look, I disagree with your judgment, but if I violated the laws of the political community, I want to die. Because I respect the laws of the political community. And if I violated them, if I broke the law, I think it's the right thing is that I want to die. I have to die because I believe in the political community. I believe in the principle of Athens. I believe in the state. I believe in the principle of our community. So I want to die. So, he drink the hemlock, he drink the poison, and he's gonna die. He say, give me the poison, and I'm going to die. He drink the poison. Why? Because he wanted his life to be guided by the principle of virtue and justice. Because of the principle of what we call political obligation. What is political obligation? Political obligation means that when you belong to a political community, when you're a member of a political community, you obey the laws, even when you find it unfair. So, you think this law is not fair, but still the existence of this political community is legitimate. The existence of the state is legitimate. The existence of this political authority is legitimate because we decided all together, and so I'm obliged to respect the laws even when these laws are not fair. This is political obligation. So, Socrates believed in the importance of accepting and obeying the laws of one city or society, even if one disagreed with them. In Socrates' views, the laws were established by the city's rulers and were intended to promote the common good. So why you respect the laws even when you find them to be unfair? Because you think that these laws are made for the common interest, for the common good. While he acknowledged that the laws could be imperfect or unjust at times, he maintained that it was the duty of citizens to obey them, rather than to challenge or subvert them. Socrates recognizes that the laws of Athens had the final say in matters of justice, and that to flout them would be to undermine the very foundation of the city's social order. So, like for example, nowadays, political obligation means that you feel an obligation to respect the laws because these laws are in the common interest, in the interest of the social order, in the interest of a just society, right? For example, let's say if one person is old and is poor, okay, and an elderly woman, 85 years old, doesn't have money. Okay, is it right if she goes to the supermarket and steal bread and she go to jail for this? Is the law just or unjust? It's an unjust law. Because if you're old, you don't have money, you should have the right, to take some bread of a super rich supermarket and feed yourself. Still, the judge has to apply the law even for this person, even if the application of the law is unjust. Why? Because if we say that society wants to respect the private property of everyone, we have to make private property all be respected. Otherwise, if you accept an exception, tomorrow we go outside and people steal our money and we say, yeah, but it was angry and so on. So to protect the common interest, sometimes the law can be unjust. But we decide to respect the law because we want to protect the common interest, public interest. This is the concept of political obligation. So, this was very important because Socrates made this speech in front of the court. Made this speech in which he said, okay, I was not guilty. I was just trying to promote my method, and my method is questioning, is advancing knowledge through critical thinking. First, he said this, so this is the foundation of Western political philosophy, questioning and making step forward, Second, he said, I'm innocent, but I accept to die. I don't want to go exile. I prefer to die because I want to show that my life was virtue, was governed by virtue. And be governed by virtue means that you accept that sometimes be governed by virtue means that you look at the public interest and not at your private interest. His own private interest was to go to exile. But the public interest was that the law is respected, that everybody comply with the law. So he made this speech, which then he wrote nothing in his life, no books by Socrates, but this speech was very important because it was the foundation of modern political thought. So his student Plato went there and wrote everything, that Socrates said, and wrote this book, this very famous book, Apology of Socrates, from which we know what were the main ideas of Socrates. So, the Apology of Socrates. So what we have to understand here is the idea of virtue and the idea of political obligation. So, let's, if it works, the audio, let's listen some parts of this.
Not much time when we gained Athenians in return for the important name which you will get for killing Socrates. If you had waited a little while, your desire would have been fulfilled in the course of nature, for I'm old and not far from death. You think that I was convicted through deficiency of words. I mean that if I had to...
Sorry, doesn't work. Why? But it was working so far, no?
Yes.
Why doesn't it work now? Mats, what do you think?
The video.
What do you think? No explanation. Now it's okay.